You're listening to Back to Here with Sarita, the new Manifesting Paradigm podcast. In this episode, I had the honor of conversing with Emmie Levy about building confidence and moving through self-doubt and how your self-concept actually shapes your reality. As you know, I'm super into manifestation, so this particular episode was really fun for me when it comes to talking about things like positive self-talk, building up your self-esteem, and talking about the manifestation process. Emmie Levy is a confidence and manifestation coach for children and young adults dedicated to empowering individuals to believe in themselves and their dreams. Just like she manifested her own dream of dancing in the 2024 Super Bowl halftime show, Emmie inspires positivity, self-assurance, and the power of living in the moment through her impactful work, Emmie Effect workshops. She also works in social media for the New York Knicks and is the type of person who believes in the power of positive energy, hoping to change the world for better someday. Make sure to enjoy this episode, and as always, make sure to hit the subscribe button on the platform that you are listening or watching this on so you know when episodes drop. Okay, let's jump in. Hey there, I'm Sarita, and you're about to experience the modern approach to well-being where you get to establish the best and most important relationship you will ever have, the one with yourself. I'm on a mission to help you declutter energy and reclaim your power so you can be a magnet to what you desire. If you're looking for the optimal blend of mindset and healing, you're in the right place. My goal in this podcast is to share tools, resources, and practices that will help you along your healing journey. I'm so excited to be here with you today, so welcome to Back to Here with Sarita. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back. Emmie, thank you so much for being here on this podcast, Back to Here with Sarita, the new Manifesting Paradigm podcast. You are into manifestation, which I'm super excited about, and we're going to be talking about that today. So it's my jam, it's your jam. I'm really excited. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It is an honor to be speaking with you.
Awesome. And I'm so happy. So Emmie and I connected actually on social media. She reached out to me. So that makes me feel so like high vibe and so grateful that there are people actually finding me like online and through like the podcast and all the things. So it's like really exciting. So that is amazing. I'm super happy you reached out. So Emmie, I'm sure people are dying to know because I gave a little like background about who you are and like the amazing things that you are doing. And you know, this always is a loaded question. So it just kind of think about like a couple maybe transformational things that happened to you that have brought you to where you are today. Like, tell me about Emmie and her story.
You got it. Well, first of all, thank you. I truly believe that the universe brought us together, regardless if it was social media or not. There's a reason that we found each other. So I'm so happy to be here. And obviously, my name is Emmie. I am the founder of the Emmie Effect. I'm a confidence and manifesting coach for children and young adults. However, confidence does not stop at a certain age. And I help these young adults build their inner confidence and manifest their dreams, just as I did my own dreams of dancing in last year's Super Bowl halftime show alongside Usher.
So exciting. So awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, what were some of the inspirations? Because you were talking about confidence, right? And it doesn't stop really anywhere, right? We build our confidence through doing something over and over again. Confidence can be built many different ways, right? So, when you reflect back on younger Emmie, like what was kind of the inspiration you think that brought you to where you are now that you want to teach people about this? What was something that was an indicator for you, like that was maybe an experience that you had where confidence was something that you needed to have more support in at a younger age?
Definitely. So I am the type of person that when you put positive energy into the universe, it will come back to you full force. And I always was the type of kid who never competitive in anything. I danced growing up, but never, it didn't matter to me if I won, if I lost. I was just happy to be there. And just to fast forward a little bit in my past, when I was in high school, a friend and I had a small business where we made little bracelets and the proceeds went to teen suicide prevention organizations. And it wasn't until post college that I truly understood the importance of confidence, of self worth, self esteem, and how that is essential in manifesting these goals and these dreams that you have for yourself. And, I really, thinking back on my younger self, I have just always wanted everyone around me to embrace that positive energy side of them. And in today's world, it's so easy to get caught up in the negative and, thinking negatively about yourself, about your surroundings. And so my goal and how I've kind of been my whole life from childhood until now is just to spread that positivity as far as I can go. I realized, again, going back, that growing up, I realized how much self-doubt can hold people back. And I knew creating this Emmie effect, I wanted to change that narrative, especially for children and young adults.
I love that. I love that. And so, with confidence, and you have a dance background, I didn't realize that. That's so amazing.
Yes.
So, performance has been a part of like who you are and embodying the performer, somebody that's on stage, somebody that's providing an experience for somebody. And I love that. So, I'm sure that it's brought you a lot of joy throughout the years in like dancing. And I had another guest last year who was who studied dance. So I love that. And I've done dance before when I was younger. I did ballet, and I really loved being on stage and performing. And then I did ballet folklorico. I don't know if you know what that is,
Mhm.
but it's the
Yeah.
Mexican dancing. It's really, really beautiful. Got to travel a little bit with a dance company.
That's
It was
amazing.
really fun. Yeah, it was really fun. So I understand. I understand like being on stage and having like that level of confidence, and definitely that's something that is a part of the psyche, as part of the experience when you are performing. And
Hmm.
so, for people, and we'll get in a little bit into a little bit of the actual discussion we'll be talking about, which is like speaking kindly to yourself, right? Because that's what we're going to be talking about a little bit more when it comes to manifesting, and our words have so much power and all that. But we kind of like dive into that at this moment right now. But like, for somebody that's not a performer, somebody that hasn't had the experience being on stage, or somebody that hasn't necessarily been in the role where they're standing in front of people, right? Because that can assume the level of confidence. Like you actually, it's kind of like a fight or flight thing where it's like, oh, you need to have confidence right now because I'm in front of people, right? But for somebody that isn't in that demographic, or doesn't do those kind of things, right? Or hasn't had that experience. And maybe, because the listeners here are mostly adults here. So somebody that doesn't have that level of confidence, that wants to build up a stronger muscle in that area, what would you suggest to them? Because like you can pull from your own personal experience of being a performer, right? But then how is it that for somebody that isn't like in performance role, like what are some things that you suggest with them when it comes to cultivating that like self-love and worth and confidence?
Yeah, 100%. I would say, I always like to use the example of when, let's take two people that are walking into a room. It doesn't matter what room it is. The first person walks in, their shoulders are slouched over, their head is kind of down, they're not making eye contact with anyone in the room. That to me is already, without speaking, showing negative energy, showing that they are not confident in themselves. The person who walks in following has their shoulders rolled back, they have a smile on their face. They might not know anyone in the room, but they're making eye contact at everyone. That is the first step, without even speaking, cultivating that confidence. A smile. I smile at strangers all the time, which sometimes strangers don't smile back, and that's okay.
Right?
I smile at everyone because a smile can change someone's day, regardless if you know them or not. I mean, the listeners can't see us right now, but I'm smiling at you, you're smiling at me, and it's making this environment that we've created so warm and so welcoming. And to build that confidence, it's a journey. It's not an overnight transformation, but it's about creating habits and mindsets that help you believe in yourself and embrace your full potential. And a way that I like to do that is by using affirmations. I think the way that you speak to yourself, which we'll get into a little later, I think it's so important. When you talk to yourself like you are your best friend, you're beautiful, you are confident, you are strong, and you flip that into I'm beautiful, I'm confident, I'm strong, you start to believe that. You're believing what you're saying to yourself, using that positive self talk, replacing those negative thoughts with empowering affirmations.
I love that. Yeah. And going back to what you're talking about with two people walking into a room, I think it's so fascinating how energy literally communicates so much more than anything, right? Before words, they call it body language, but now that we know with science and now we understand a little bit more around like energetics of people and vibrational energy and all those things, and there's science to prove that. For those of you that are like, just coming in and listening, one of my last episodes last year talking about the neuroscience behind manifestation and how vibrational energy, there's a lot of science within physics to actually prove that we are vibrational beings. And so what Emmie is describing is this energy that we bring to certain situations or circumstances or environment is our vibrational energy, is our energy. And that comes from our self concept, which I love that you're talking about that because that's so important. I think this is a missing key in regards to manifestation that I think people are starting to understand a little bit more and starting to utilize a little bit more because I think when people come to the world of manifestation, let me know if this is like how you came to the world of manifestation and understanding things is like we understand the law of attraction and positive thinking, but we don't always need to be positive all the time, right? It is about actually our energy and how we're feeling, and so it's about the self concept. Can you talk a little bit more about what self concept is? And you did a little bit with like the affirmations and how we see ourselves, but for somebody that's kind of new to like speaking to ourselves and how we perceive ourselves, how important is that when it comes to our confidence and our manifesting our desires?
Absolutely. Just to go back, I love what you said about vibrational energy. It is so real. I have so many friends in my life who are so skeptical of manifestation and they just think it feels very woo
Woo
woo.
woo. Yeah.
Yeah. And that it's not real. They're like, what do you mean you manifested pretty much your life? I mean, just to go back a little bit, this in March of this year, I will be running the half marathon. And that is the first time I've really announced that on any podcast before.
Ooh, it's exciting.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I entered the lottery to do it. And I wrote down in my journal, I am going to run in the half marathon. And I kind of put that vibrational energy into the universe. I mean, I didn't think I would get picked. I'm not a runner whatsoever. And all of a sudden that energy came back to me when I read my email. It said, "Congratulations, you'll be running in the half marathon." And I could not believe it,
Love
but
it.
it's that manifestation coming to life. But anyways, back to, self-concept and how that's kind of the foundation of confidence. Your self-concept is kind of the mental image that you hold for yourself and how you perceive your abilities and your worth and kind of your identity. And it's the foundation of everything you do. You are you, and when you put you into the world, that's your best foot forward. And it matters in regards to your confidence, the way you manifest, because it's all tied back to how you view yourself.
I love that. I love that how you said that. Yeah, it's our own little blueprint of ourselves, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like how we perceive ourselves, but also it's our foundational truth, right?
Yeah.
And so when we have a shaky, unsteady foundational truth, of course, that is going to manifest, that is going to create, that's going to project an experience, and also not only our own experience, but experience other people are going to experience of us, of
Mm-hmm.
unstable and maybe not feeling so confident and all the things. So yes, I love that self. concept is very, very important because it is how we perceive ourselves. So for you, I would love to know, let's circle back to that Usher dancing at the Super Bowl. That is so exciting. And I remember when you told me that, I was like, oh my God, that's so amazing. So when it came to, and I'm sure you did kind of the same steps that you were talking about running the half marathon, how you manifested that. So for somebody that's listening, that's just like, oh my God, like that's possible. Like she did
Mhm.
that. Let's kind of break it down. So what were like a few of the steps that you did in order to manifest that experience? And you can talk about like the human footsteps you actually did, but then what are some of, because this is important because the show, like we talk about really trusting the process and coming back to like the truth and everything.
Mhm.
What are some of the things that you did, like human footstep wise, right? And then also, what are some of the things that you just really truly believed about the experience and trusting it?
Absolutely. So to backtrack a little bit, February of 2023, I watched the Super Bowl halftime show with my roommate. I watched Rihanna perform the most
Amazing
peak
performance.
performance I've ever seen.
Pregnant.
Yeah, craziness with all of her dancers. And I looked over at my roommate and I said, I'm going to do that one day. She was like, "What? What are you talking about?" I said, "I'm going to dance in the Super Bowl halftime show. I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know how." I then brought this idea to my family, shared it with them, and they laughed at me. They were like, "What are you talking about that you are going to dance in the Super Bowl halftime show? That's the biggest stage ever." I said, "I'm going to figure it out. I don't know how." That was my first step, creating this thought. I want to do something. I put it in my brain that it's going to happen at some point. And so my thoughts start to align with my ideas. But that was just my first step. You can have a thought. That's great. What are you going to do about your thought? And I started to take action on my thoughts. I did this in two ways. The first kind of step to manifest this dream into a reality was by reaching out and taking action and researching all different people who work adjacent to the Super Bowl, regardless if they had their email correct or not, because a lot of the times I didn't. And I just kind of jumped into the deep end and sent these emails reaching out. I would love to be a part of this. I am so inspired by last year's halftime show. I literally will do anything to do this. I'll get you coffee. I'll throw out your garbage, whatever it was. And just threw myself into it and showed my personality throughout my email. That was the first kind of piece to it. The second piece was journaling. Journaling plays a very big piece in who I am and my story with manifesting pretty much anything that has come to me. I like to write down morning, night, whenever I feel a calling towards journaling, write down as specific as I can. So with the Super Bowl, I was writing down, I am going to dance in the Super Bowl halftime show. Then I made it more specific. I am dancing in February in Las Vegas 2024 with Usher at the Super Bowl halftime show. And pages and pages and pages of me writing this down. I mean, it sounds crazy, but I'm putting that, like we talked about, vibrational energy into the universe. And I was really trusting the process. And just to dive into it a little bit more, because I'm sure someone is listening and is like, tell me more. I want to hear everything. I hope.
Yes.
I, for 11 months straight, reached out. So February of 2023, all the way to December 2023, I was reaching out and, I was hearing nothing. I heard nothing back that entire time, but I continued to be persistent because it's something I wanted. I thought about my why. I wanted to do this. And around month 6 or so, I was starting to kind of give up because, it's human nature. You feel a little bit of that self-doubt. You're not hearing anything back, getting that validation. And I was like, you know what? I read back in my journal and I was looking at all the journal entries from February of 2023. And I saw how much I wanted it. Pages of reading by I'm going to dance in the halftime show. And I thought about, me in February of 2023 watching the performance and knowing and feeling that I was going to be up there when you have that feeling, it's the universe kind of telling you it's going to happen at some point. There's not a
Yes.
reason that that thought came into your head and it's just going to pass you by. I firmly believe in that. It came December of 2023, and I received an email that said, "We see you. We see all of your emails. We haven't responded to any of them, but we see you. And here is your audition link. Good luck." I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that my dream.
Wow. And that was, you said December 2023?
December of last year. Yeah, I sent in my audition video, and at that point, it was left up to the universe. I had did my part. I took action on my thoughts. I reached out. I wrote down in my journal. I thought about the fact that I wanted this so much. And I thought to the universe, it literally sounds crazy, but I said, I put in the work. Show me why me putting in this work will bring me to where I need to be. So I send in my audition video. I hear back. They say, congratulations. And then at that point, it was left up to the universe. And within a 2-week period, I was hearing back. I made it through round 1, round 2, round 3. And the round 3 email said, in 48 hours, we will let you know if you've made it or if you haven't. And 48 hours went, and I heard nothing. And honestly, I felt a little self-doubt in that moment, but I had to dig deep and think about, flipping the script, flipping that self-doubt and turning it into self-love, how important it is to speak kindly to yourself. And I thought, I want this so badly. I am going to dance in the Super Bowl halftime show. I can do this. I am capable of doing these crazy, crazy things, turning the negative into the positive. I went to sleep. I was a little sad. I woke up still a little sad, feeling a little negative. I was happy that I made it that far, but sad that I didn't fully make it. And that morning, I opened up my computer, I saw my email, and it said, congratulations, you will be dancing in the Super Bowl halftime show. We will see you in Vegas on Tuesday. And I
Oh
couldn't
my
believe
gosh.
it.
Unbelievable.
You.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's believable because it happened. Oh my
Yep,
gosh. That
I
is so
always
amazing.
thank you. I always say I can't believe it, but I can believe it because it feels literally like a fever dream, but I can believe it because I put in the work to make it my reality.
And you answered a little bit of a question that I had during the whole process because I really want to break this all down. But in regards to the response of the self-concept and speaking kindly to yourself in those moments, because that is where we have people that are struggling with different aspects and different steps during the process, right? There's some people that are having trouble just taking the action. There's some people that are trusting the process. There's some people that are having concerns about how do you speak to yourself, like during this whole thing, like what do you actually do? I want to speak in briefly and then we'll kind of break down everything. But I want to have you speak into in those moments when you are having the self-doubt. And it sounds like you have a particular gift in being able to flip, like you said, flip this narrative of the possible negative feelings that can potentially creep up, right? In regards to like, is this actually possible? Is this actually going to happen? Like, am I really crazy? Is what people are telling me like the truth, right? So what are some ways in which somebody that is going through this process and trying to believe that it's going to be possible and they keep telling themselves, trust the process, what are some ways in which they can really give themselves a self-love and amplify and really boost up their feeling of self-worth during quote unquote waiting for the the thing to come to fruition, right?
So I would say, self-doubt is something, unfortunately, that it creeps up on us, especially when we are chasing these big moments. In my life, it was the Super Bowl. That self-doubt definitely snuck itself in when I was hearing nothing back. It's a natural thing that happens, but it doesn't have to stop you from chasing your dreams, from manifesting your goals. And a couple tools that I like to use, the first one I would say is take a second and sit with that self-doubt. It sounds scary to do, but when you pause and you kind of feel your feelings, because all feelings are okay and all feelings are validated, feeling that self-doubt, recognizing what it is, and let it pass. It's a passing thought. I like to remind myself that self doubt is normal, but it doesn't define my abilities and who I am. An affirmation that I kind of like to use, I tell myself that the self doubt is temporary. As much as I can put my hands on my hips and say, I'm confident, I'm beautiful, I'm strong, I use these affirmations in a way that helps me handle self doubt. This self doubt is temporary. I can overcome the challenges that my brain has given to me, and I will now, and I will again. Another little tool that I like to use, I like to reflect on my why. I shared in my story, 6 or so months in, I thought about my why. Your why is the reason that you're doing whatever it is you're doing in the first place. And, when you reconnect with that deeper reason, it lights that fire underneath you to keep going. When I reflect on my why, especially with the Emmie effect, for me, it's, I want to help these young kids build their own confidence and manifest their own dreams. I think about my why. I never had that growing up. I mean, I had the support of my family and my friends, and I was just a happy-go-lucky kid. But if I had someone like me to kind of show me these tools and these tips and tricks, how to walk into a room confidently, and why you should use affirmations and what they can do for you in your brain, thinking about that why did I start this journey, and who am I doing it for? And I'll say one more little tool. With self-doubt, journaling kind of plays a part of that. It kind of ties together. I like to take a moment and reflect on like past challenges that I've overcome and milestones that I've hit, no matter how big or how small, because whatever it is, it's a milestone, and remind myself that growth takes time. And I like to keep a list in a journal, wherever it is, visibly writing it down, because that kind of takes that self-doubt piece away. When you look back and you see how many things you've accomplished, big or small, your brain starts to kind of erase that self-doubt that you have within you. It might still be there, but it might not feel as big. So those
I
are,
love those reminders.
thank you.
No, those are amazing reminders, especially when it comes to the why. All three of them are really, really great tools and
Mhm.
resources for people to land with when they are having those moments of self-doubt and not believing that things are possible, right? And also too, I want to point out like having this story that you're sharing is verification to somebody else that it is possible, right? So, and there are many, many, many stories of overcoming and manifesting dreams. And there's so many examples out there that it can support people in believing that it is like completely possible. And I want to point out too, with the whole why thing, one of the things that I learned within the last, I would say, year or two when it comes to your why and desiring to manifest something into your life or call something into your life, create something into your life, right, with a goal,
Mhm.
is that the the desire may be just because you want it simply. And that is actually enough because you are worthy of receiving it, right?
Yes.
So my experience, I just want to share a little bit of my experience because this is something that I've realized that I have done in the past when I am having those moments when I'm journaling or taking a walk outside and talking to source, power, God, universe, all the higher power, right? And going into, unfortunately, this little laundry list of things of the reason why I want this thing. And it's almost as though I am trying to convince myself and convince higher power that I am worthy of receiving that thing because of this long laundry list of things that, well, I want this particular, let's say, amount of money because then I can do this with it, and then I can do this with it, and then I'll feel like this with it. And so I'll go through this like kind of explanation of that. And although that can be supportive in the way that it helps me like bring up those feelings, right? at the same time, I can desire that car or that, nice vacation or, whatever it is that I want to have for the hell of it. Like I want it because I want it, right? And it doesn't necessarily need to have this huge, profound, 10-page essay of why you want it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really, really important too, that I love that you were just like, I want this because at that moment when I turned to my best friend, this is something that I wanted to do. And in that moment, I decided that I wanted to have this in my life and experience that. And you went from there, right? And there wasn't this long explanation of like, this is why, blah, blah, all these things. So I think that's one of the things I wanted to point out to somebody that, people that are listening is that your desires and the things that you want in your life and to call in doesn't need to have this like huge long explanation. It can be just for the hell of it because you want it, right? Real simply.
Exactly. Yeah. A little before I shared, there's a reason that you want, like, there's a reason that that thought is coming into your head. When I saw Rihanna and her Super Bowl dancers and I blurted out, I'm going to do that, it's because I was able to visualize it. And I didn't have to give, like you shared, a whole long explanation. I want to do this because I'm a dancer and I grew up dancing and I want to
Right.
have my moment. I just felt it. I felt it in that moment. And it sounds crazy, but when you feel it for yourself, it will make sense. And you
And
can.
that's enough. And that's enough just as it is desiring that thing. And I think I want to touch on this as well. As women, we are very socially conditioned to not go after our desires as much.
Mm-hmm.
And we are told that our desires are a little less than important than other people's desires, especially when we get into the age of becoming more of an adult and having like a family and significant other and like all these things and just more responsibilities with life. It's
Mm-hmm.
like our desires very oftentimes get put on the back burner and we are, giving, giving, giving. And so the desire is like put way back. And so a lot of times when people come to me and they're like, and I ask them like, what is it that you want? It's just kind of like I like I know, but I don't know, right? And it's okay to stand in conviction with the fact that you just want something and you desire something. So I love that. I'm glad we were able to cover that.
Yes, me too.
Amazing. So, with that whole experience, I'm so grateful that you were able to share like some of the human footsteps that you actually did. And I love journaling. I'm all about journaling. And I feel like it's a very supportive way for somebody to not only like release some of the things that are coming up with them, but also stand in the affirmation of that thing that they really do want. So when it comes to teaching the kids that you teach with your Emmy project, Emmy effect, excuse me, the Emmy effect. Did I say it correctly? Yes, Emmy
Yes.
effect
Mm-hmm.
is so when you're describing this to younger children in regards to the importance of affirmations and writing things down and having a more positive self-concept for for them to see themselves in that way. How do you explain that to somebody that is already starting to feel the effect of lack of confidence, right? Because we don't come into this world like lack of confidence. We learn that we are completely pure and we're literally a sponge. And then usually around by the age of like 7, 8 is when things kind of start really like we become a sponge so much. And so we're like, okay, we're navigating this world. How do you communicate to little ones in regards to this? Because I know there are people listening that have children, so they can help support them in these particular areas.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. The amount of kids that I work with, I see the couple that are like me where they're happy, they're excited to be there. They feel this inner confidence, whether they know that it's confidence or not. And they're just presenting themselves in such an awesome, cool, happy way. And then I have kids that I work with that are really, like you described, experiencing lack of confidence. They come into an event, their head is down. They don't feel, without saying it, they don't feel good enough. And which obviously breaks my heart, which is why I am so happy that I get to do what I do. But to describe that, to help that lack of confidence, I grew up as a camp counselor. I went to camp growing up and then I became a camp counselor. And a lot of the times I saw campers who were homesick or who had that lack of confidence. And a way to really connect on their level is to be relatable and vulnerable and have that conversation feel empathetic towards them. My life, my journey, as I shared, I was a happy go lucky kid, but with dance, I grew up dancing in a very competitive dance school. There were dancers who were like, this is mine. I got this. I can do this. When we were trying out for different competition teams, I tried out for the same competition teams they did, and I didn't make them at first. And I didn't make them the second time, and I definitely did not make them the third time. So I felt that lack of confidence. We all do. We all feel a lack of confidence, big or small, in our life. And relating to these young kids on a young level, that it's okay to feel, not as confident right now. But I teach the tools that help them get to a more confident place in their life. Confidence affects us on our daily life so much, and the way we approach challenges, kids lacking confidence these days. But confidence is your belief in yourself.
So I feel like I'm reflecting back on being around that age, because what age do you normally work with when it comes to the Emmy effect? Are you working with like younger, really younger kids up to teenage? Like what are the kind of the age demographics?
So when I first started out in May, I was working with strictly 7 years old to 13 years old. Don't know why, just picked that age group. I figured young kids. Within my workshop, which we can get into a little later, there's a portion where you have to be able to understand certain questions that are being asked. So I figured 7 years old was my youngest, 13 years old will be my oldest. And as I watched my Emmy Effect programs develop, I expanded my age group to all ages. I recently spoke at a college campus, and watching the college students who are 18, 19, 20 years old have resonate the same way with these tools of confidence and manifesting. I realized that confidence doesn't stop at a certain age. So I expanded my program to 7 years old until as old as whoever needs it.
Amazing, because I'm reflecting back on when, I was younger, and it sounds like we have similar stories in the way that I had an automatic feeling of confidence. I feel like a lot of kids already have this instilled in them. And then society experiences, things that happen to them, school starts to change and mold their self concept and their self identity in ways, peer pressure. There's a lot of different things that can contribute to somebody's, I would say, change and transformation when it comes to their confidence levels. And I wish I'd had somebody, a confidence coach of some kind. The only type of confidence building that I had, I'm thinking back, was through sports. Thank goodness I had sports, because it was like motivational, right? Like we had the
What
motivation
sports
from the
did you do?
sports. The sports that I played soccer through elementary school and part of high school, and then I played tennis from junior high to college.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely was supportive to me. And then I did dance as well. So that was also a level of confidence boosting that was supportive to me. And I know not everybody gets those type of experiences growing up, right? And so I'm just kind of reflecting back on how would I have transformed? How would I have become if I had somebody that was specifically there to support me with my confidence level? So I love that you are working with so many different age groups when it comes to supporting them in the way that they speak to themselves.
Thank
And
you.
so circling back, like you were saying, you need to have some level of understanding of like what it is that you're talking about. So when you talk to these, these children in these workshops and stuff, you're utilizing words like manifestation and affirmations, correct?
Yes.
I love that. I love that. So we can introduce, so that's one of the things that I really wish was talked about in schools. And
Hmm.
there's more of a rise. And I've said this before on the podcast, and I've said this also on my social media that yes, a lot of us have been introduced to the world of manifestation and thinking that it's this woo woo thing, right? Circling back to the beginning of our conversation,
Yep.
thinking that it's this like woo woo practice, when in reality, it's not. There's a lot of science base behind it. And I wish they would teach these type of things in schools. And the rise of interest, the rise of people that are interested in utilizing the tools of manifesting and goal setting and really believing and trusting the process and understanding, starting to understand our power a little bit more. And the words that we speak are so powerful. To me, is a indicator to a collective consciousness of people that are desiring to have answers to questions of how can I actually make a life that is conscious? How can I create a life that is more aligned to myself? How can I actually have a life that I really love living instead of believing that I am just a subject in a story and I just am kind of thrown whatever and navigating life, as basically a sidekick and just kind of doing whatever higher power wants me to do, when in reality, we are in, I would say, not full control because there's a lot more that's at, bay that's happening, but also working together with that as a main character energy. I've been really saying that a lot more often, main character energy to do that. So I think that's really beautiful that it's like all this is like indication that there's more people that are interested in this because there's such a need for it. And I love that you're supporting younger children because it's obvious with the adults that it's happening that there's more of a need for it and that you're implementing and integrating this into their daily. So when they become adults, it's like such their norm, it's their everyday conversation. It's not something that's like taboo as some people still consider it.
Yeah, I find that I am so lucky and grateful that I get to work with these young kids, but I share with the parents at the end of the session that it starts with you. When you, as an adult, are confident in yourself and you're showing up in a confident way, shoulders back, smile on your face, making eye contact, harnessing that idea of I am confident, I am beautiful, I am strong. You're being a role model for these young kids. And then they see that. And then they put that energy and what they're taught and what they're shown, they put that into their life. And now they grow up with that. And it's just a beautiful circle of confidence that is coming to fruition because the adults in their life have been a role model to them.
I absolutely love that. Yeah. So they're literally surrounded by it. And it's like important to remember here too that, what we focus on expands. So if we're constantly being surrounded by these beliefs and thoughts that are going to be uplifting and supporting to our transformation and our growth, then it's even more of a powerful thing. And so that is amazing. I love that you are doing the work that you're doing, Emmie. It's so fantastic. There's so much transformation that you are supporting these kids with, and also, with everybody that you talk to, and all the people that you're impacting. When you're saying you're talking at a college, like all these different impacts that you are doing. So what's next for you? What's happening in 2025 apart from the marathon that you said you're running? What are some, that's amazing you manifested that. That is so
Thank you.
cool.
Cross your
What's
fingers
hap-
as well.
Yes, I know it will. I know it will. So what's next for Emmy in 2025? What are some things, if you do want to share this, like what are some things that you are creating and cultivating and putting out there in the universe to make the magic happen?
100%. I would say 2025 has a lot of fun in store. I have a couple things planned that hopefully should be released within the beginning of this year. And I'm so excited to share that with everyone. I can't share exactly what it is just yet, but I'm very excited. I am really trying to add in that piece of kindness to the Emmie Effect programs. I think kindness is such an underrated thing that we kind of just pass on. Being kind to someone can fully transform their entire day. When you say something as kind as, "Oh, I love what you're wearing today," or you look great. So a compliment. You give someone a compliment, or you just smile at them. I shared before, a smile goes a very long way. It can change someone's whole day. They feel good about themselves. They want to do that for someone else. It's that chain reaction of a smile, pretty much. So in 2025, adding more kindness factor into my programs. Just to expand a little bit on my program, if anyone is listening and wondering, it is an hour-and-a-half session that I share my story. I go a little bit deeper into manifesting and the Super Bowl, kind of sharing that whole crazy story. And I do two little crafts. I do two events within my whole event. My first little project that I do is we create vision journals, where as opposed to a vision board, we are crafting a vision journal, teaching these young kids about manifesting, about journaling, writing stuff down, about the stuff that goes on the outside of your journal is what you write about on the inside. The second little project event piece is they play my card game. It's the Emmie Effect card game that takes affirmations. I am beautiful, I'm confident, I'm strong, and it turns them into question form. Where do you feel the most beautiful? How can you make a friend feel confident? What's a song that makes you feel powerful? What's your happy place? All questions within that world of affirmations and creating these conversations about confidence. So 2025, looking to do as many events as I can, spread my joy and my kindness and my smile to the world. And, sometimes there isn't really a set plan. You kind of let life guide you wherever it feels like taking you. And I am just so excited for the year to come. I don't know what's to come, but I am so excited.
I love that. Woohoo. So, how can people get in touch with you? What are the best ways in which people, if there's somebody listening that wants to utilize your services or knows somebody, what's the best way they can get in touch with you so they can actually have like an event planned?
Definitely. So my Instagram is at the Emmie Effect. My TikTok is also at the Emmie Effect. I love connecting with people. This is how the two of us got connected, through DM, just sending a cold message. It makes my day reading any message that I'm sent. So happy to connect with anybody. You can find my email in my bio. It's emmieeffect@gmail.com. And my card game is available at payhip.com/the Emmie Effect. payhip.com. And I'm happy to connect with anybody.
Amazing. We'll definitely have those resources available in the show notes. So for anyone that wants to connect with Emmie, that information will be down in the show notes. Emmie, thank you so, so much for sharing all the amazing things that you're doing within the Emmie Effect, and then also all the things that you shared within the nuggets of wisdom within this particular episode. I really, really appreciate you. You have such vibrant, amazing, sunny energy, and we need so many more people like you on this earth.
Thank you. You have that same energy, which is why I'm so grateful for the opportunity for us to connect and share both of our wisdom. So thank you for having me.
Yes, you're so welcome. And thank you so much, everybody. We will see you in the next episode. And as always, keep being the amazing you that you are. Take care. Bye. Hey, love. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you adored what you heard, it would mean the world to me if you took a moment to leave a review on the platform you are listening to this episode on. By doing this, you are helping my mission to impact other women with their healing journeys. If you aren't already following me on social media, make sure to connect with me at Sarita Wellness to get your weekly dose of inspiration. I can't wait to be with you in the next episode, but in the meantime, keep being the amazing you that you are.